You know, some days you just have everything planned out to a T and the weather don't cooperate. Today was one of those days. Sonny Johnston, Ryan Miller, and myself loaded up, went to Norris Lake to do a little tightline fishing. Now you guys know I'm pretty well known for tightlining. Sonny puts a spin on it, Brian finishes it up. The weather didn't seem to make a difference. Welcome 3B Outdoors, I'm Nathan Light. We're going tightlining on Norris Lake. Now Sonny, we had everything laid out that day. You know, you and Brian told me you was on some fish and wanted to take me up there and show me how to tightline a little bit. And we loaded up and headed out, got the boat in the water, man, about 10 minutes, here the rains came and didn't let up all day, did it?
Isn't it sure never. It was a terrible day to fish, but we had a lot of fun. It was enjoyable.
Well, you put the hurt on us pretty bad, and Brian wasn't able to make it here today, so we can talk about him any way we want to. So he won't be here to confirm or deny anything we say, but man, running the camera back there, the camera guy probably had the toughest day of all, though.
We really did, and we couldn't have done it at all if I hadn't thought and brought an umbrella.
Well, you're taking the credit for it.
Yeah, that's absolutely, because
we had everything except the umbrella, and man, we just had one of those days where it's one for the books. Caught a lot of fish, but if we hadn't had the camera with us, nobody believed we was out in that environment actually fishing.
Well, if we hadn't been shooting the film and drove that far, we probably wouldn't have fished.
We'd probably stayed up there and ate breakfast and not even put the boat in the water.
That's right.
All right, now you stay with us. This is going to be one, I promise you, that you probably won't believe until you actually see it. The conditions were so bad. What now? Chris down at Express Signs, every time he sees a picture of that boat backing down the ramp, that wrap on it, man, he goes crazy. And I tell you what, everybody else does too. That really brings a lot of attention to that boat and helps us out a ton. I mean, I can't say enough about how much we appreciate what those guys do for us.
Yeah, he's making you look awful professional looking.
He helps us all he can. He's got don't have much to work with, does he?
I hope you didn't get a picture of me running this foot control motor, because I'm like a bull in a china cabinet doing this.
Well, that's a good thing about editing. You know, you can take out some of that stuff. But now these guys at Hickory Star Marina, they've been fishing all night, haven't they?
Yeah, they said they hadn't done any good at all.
Now, they're bundled up a whole lot more than what we are, but this is just the beginning.
They must have known it was going to rain, because they was leaving.
They was a little bit smarter than what we was, wasn't it?
At Hickory Star Marina, it's a big dock, and it's been there for years and years.
Is that where you put in all the time down there?
No, we put in at different places, but in the wintertime, when it's this time of year, we usually put in down at lower end. That's kind of like in the middle of the lake. That way you don't have to run too far if you're, you know, in wintertime.
Now, Norris is kind of a foreign lake to me. I've lived here all my life, and I've probably been on it 2 or 3 times, and I'd never put in Hickory Star. Now, we're getting ready to get started, and you're telling a tighthliner how to tightline. Is that the way it was, son?
Well, my type of tightline is totally different from the way you boys do it up here in Tennessee. I'm Southwest Virginia boy, and we're kind of lazy type tightline fishermen.
It didn't take you long to demonstrate how it worked, though, did it?
No, it didn't take us long. We done all right.
Now, I don't think we've actually told them what we're going to catch today, but this wintertime technique, you catch very few largemouth or spots. You'll get into a school of spots and you'll catch some of those in a largemouth or two, but from what I saw, this technique is pretty much you can say it's smallmouth, and that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, primarily it's smallmouth, and that's why South Holston, Norris, Watauga, these type of lakes that is known for their smallmouth work so much better with this tightline than any other lakes around.
Those smallmouth pull, I mean, they pull hard. Now, what pound line you throw yours on?
4 pound test.
That's what I throw mine on too, and you know, we were talking a lot about it. I shake that and keep mine moving all the time, and you pretty much fish yours on the bottom, don't you?
Yeah, it's just a lift and drop. You throw it out and let it go to the bottom, and then you just put your rod at about 10 o'clock, and then you just crank your handle, and all you're doing, you're just picking it up and dropping it back down. Picking it up, dropping it back down, and you actually use your reel handle keep your rod still, because you got to watch your line. If you can't see your line, you can't catch half the fish you need to. And
now that first one there, we talked about being a keeper. What is a keeper down there?
18 inches. Has been for about 5 or 6 years on Norris.
So we put that on the board. That was the first keeper of the day right there, I believe.
Yeah, this time of year when it's winter time down there, they're beautiful fish. When they're marked up real pretty and it's clear water, they're just gorgeous.
That light line, they pull like a freight train. All of them's good, aren't they?
Yeah, it's, but the 4-pound test line in the wintertime, you know, there's not a lot of structure for them to get around to break you off, so just a matter of letting him wear himself down and reach down, get him by the jaw.
Now, so far it looks like it's a one-man show. Something's wrong here. I mean, what's going on?
Well, it's the teacher. You know,
the teacher and the student.
The student is supposed to be a little slower coming along.
And we told you it's going to rain. Now check out this rain. Now this is not just a temporary rain. This is all day long. They didn't bother the fish, though. They're already wet, aren't they?
Yeah, we did much more than cut the big engine off till it started raining, and it never let up. When we left, I think it was still raining.
Now, like we said, Brian's not with us today. Where's he at now in all this action?
I have no idea. He had something he had to do, he said. Probably fishing.
You catch them like that just all day. That's fun. Even about 15 foot. You pumped it.
Man, those things are pretty. And most people, even if they had started out going, like we said earlier, even if they started out to go to the lake, when they got out there and saw what was happening, they'd turn around and went to the house. We toughed it out. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, I thought I was a really good tight liner, and I still think I am. But I was up there shaking my little jig while you was jerking. So this old boy here, kind of slow learner, but I picked up on it and changed out here in a few minutes.
If you'll notice what I'm doing, I just got my rod at 10 o'clock and I've just cranked my handle. Every time it hits the bottom, I just crank my handle one time, and just all it does is pick the little jig up and goes right back to the bottom. And you just watch that line. And if that line twitches, that's a bite.
All right, now I think I've switched over here because I'm not shaking mine anymore. And before the day's over, I'm gonna catch one, I think. Now, you know. Now here you're hooked up again.
Yeah, the first bank we pulled in on, first 100 yards down through there, we caught several fish. Now there's a spot.
There's a spot.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them down there too, isn't there, son?
It's loaded with spots, just a matter of hitting into them, and when you usually find one, there'll be more of them around.
Come tight lining with a little small 1/8 ounce flies, you've got to have some of these. This is a little knocker. And when you get hung in the brush, which they'll get hung in the brush real quick, you just screw this on your line and drop it straight down your line and pick it up, shake it, and it'll knock that little fly right loose. Always keep that in your pocket.
But now, do you do that same technique just to fish for spots, or is it just when you have to follow across one you catch them?
No, it works for spots, largemouth, and smallmouth all, but it's primarily smallmouth though. They just love it.
Now you got to have a bunch of those pocket rockets, don't you?
Oh yeah, you got to have them, or you're gonna cost you a bunch of money.
That's one of the neatest tricks fishing world saw in a long time, especially on those light jigs. You can put those things, wrap them on your line, throw them down there. The first time I ever showed those to anybody away from here, they looked at me and they said, well, how you gonna get it back? And I said, well, you reel it in when you get your jig. And they said, well, if you don't get it back? And I said, well, you've lost $1. You know, that's about what they cost. But man, they save a lot of equipment, don't they?
Oh, listen, it's unbelievable.
Cold, wet, dreary.
I think the problem you was having to start with this morning was you couldn't see your line.
Yeah, I used that green.
Yeah, we kept telling you you had to see the line, and you didn't believe us.
And Brian, he was throwing braid, wasn't
Yeah.
he? He was throwing some smaller braid with a fluorocarbon leader, wasn't he?
Right. And a lot of people's gone to that now with their
With their braid.
yeah, we're using real light braid, like 10-pound, 12-pound test braid, and then putting a fluorocarbon leader on it, about a 5-foot leader on it.
It gives you that extra strength plus the feel too. Sonny, how long you been fishing?
Gosh, I can't remember. Ever since I was a little kid.
Still like it though, don't you?
I love it.
I could tell, you know, when you was reeling them in, even though you didn't harass us too awful bad, I could tell you wasn't gonna back off now and give us a chance.
Well, I was behind you. You had the first shot at them.
Now, Sonny, now look there, see. I think you was cutting me off. We was fishing that ultimate match fishing, so you're supposed to be in the back. That'd been a penalty there throwing across the line.
You was probably getting bites and just couldn't see them till you changed them. I think you started using Brian's rod and reel where you could see.
Yeah, I tried
line.
his out there a little bit, and I lost one because I wasn't used to it a little bit. But man, look how those things pull down that clear water, and they're pretty.
Yeah, in today's fishing, you know, if you can catch 3 or 4 keepers, you know, 18-inch smallmouth, you've done well.
Oh yeah.
You know, you'll catch a lot of 15, 16, 17-inch size fish down north. But those 18 inches are hard to come by no matter where you're fishing.
And we was battling that rain with the camera and everything else, and the towels. We had towels hanging over that camera, umbrellas, and anything we could put on it to keep it dry. And man, it's just hard on the camera guy. I mean, whoever was running the camera, man, they was just behind the 8 ball, wasn't it?
It's pretty tough. Brian run his first half of the day, and then I run his second half, and it's a whole lot easier to be fishing. Well, you do a good job of lipping all these fish.
I've got a lot of experience, man. I got even better at it today. After hanging out with you, I didn't give you much of experience of lipping too many of them though.
Yeah, if a man don't like that, he needs to take up golf or something. 'Cause that's one more lot of fun.
I'm glad you're not keeping count. That's all I
I
can say.
can't remember setting the hook that much, but I guess I did.
I can remember it. Seems like this yesterday. That's what I can remember. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I need to do different. Now, I kind of like watching other people catch them, but it ain't the same when I'm not catching it. I mean, this is a true lesson right here. I can say I've had a lot of them, but this is one where I learned a lot. Look at that thing jump. Well, they just go crazy, you know.
Yeah, no matter how cold it is, they'll still end up coming up and jumping.
Man, what a smallmouth. That's a beautiful fish right there. Now that's the one I lost, and that was the biggest fish of the day. I promise you, Sonny, that was about 8 pounds now.
I think that fox had a hold of that lure is what it was going up that bank.
I got out foxed. You can't have enough bilge pumps on a day like today. We could have used 2 or 3 more. If you're sitting home on the couch watching TV, you're not going to see them foxes and catch fish and all that good stuff. So you just got to go do it.
Get out there and do it. You can see in these films the type banks that you fish this time of year. They're just deep, gravelly, rocky, steep. You know, at least 45-degree banks or steeper.
Chunk rock on them, or just anything, big boulders, break it up a little
bit. Big boulders, either type, but it's primarily main river channel stuff. You don't fool much back in the pockets.
Might catch one on a secondary point or something, but
Occasionally,
most of it's out there on those channel swings.
Most of it's right out on that main river.
Now look there, that one's mine. That is an 8-pounder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Sonny, we're about halfway through this show now, and you know, as you can tell, I thought we put up there and it started raining. I thought, man, this is going to be a long day, but it flew by almost as fast as this show's going by.
Well, it's like I said, unless you've got out there in the wintertime when it's cold weather and catch you smallmouth, you just don't really realize how much fun it is.
Get that old heart to thumping, and
time flies when you're having fun.
Thinking about that hamburger on the way back in.
That's right.
Now, what's going to happen if they leave during the break? They're going to miss it because it'll fly by this fast. That day flew by fast, won't it?
That's right. Hang in there and don't leave.
There you go. We'll be right back right after the break. All right, now we've come back from commercial break, and I know that everybody's just sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for me to catch a big one. So far, it's been the Sonny Johnston show.
Well, it's going to be the Brian Miller show now.
You think so?
I'm behind the camera, and Brian's using the rod and reel now.
So we've switched up, and y'all still going to try to give me a chance to catch one, right?
We're still going to try to put it on you if we can.
Well, if they hang around long enough, they might see me catch one today, okay? Now look here, I think I found out what it was. When you got back there out of my way, look here what I've done. I've caught one.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Right off of the bat, and it didn't take
long. I think
long.
you changed using Brian's rod or reel or putting new line on or something.
No, that's my pole right there. The only difference is you're behind the camera, see?
Oh, okay.
You was up there hogging them all. Brian gave me a cast or two. You was picking every rock clean up through there. Isn't this a whole lot more fun watching me catch them, son?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Why don't you check his professional camera work out here? That's the main thing.
Well, that's right. Look at that.
Well,
man, you got the jump and everything.
You got the jump and everything.
Yeah. Just look how that land lays back there. I mean, there's not a lot of houses at all down there on Norris, are there?
It's getting built up a lot more now than it has been, but there's still a lot of territory down there. There's no houses, nothing down there.
These fish just do not give up, and they pull. This is a good one right here now, I'm telling you. And I'm just glad that it's on film, because after the day we've saw up till now, if I'd have told them I caught one, somebody probably wouldn't have believed it. So I'm just glad we was able to capture it.
It's a good fish.
That's a Norris Lake smallmouth right there. That's the good thing about living where we live, though. Man, we're so blessed. We're out here on your dock on Boone Lake, and yet we can drive, an hour and a half and fish Norris, and fish an hour. We can go 4 or 5 more lakes within an hour, and then drive just a little bit further and go down fish some of the Tennessee River lakes. Man, this is the best place in the country to live, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, I've go to Florida, used to go to Florida a lot during January, and go down there and not catch near as many fish as I can go to Norris and catch now in a day's time.
Well, everybody, all the clubs and everything has these out-of-town tournaments. A lot of people has out-of-town tournaments coming here. We just got it mixed up. We pass them on the road sometimes. Now Brian, it didn't take him long to jump up there and catch one too.
Now there's a good prime example of the type bank you're fishing. You're looking for that type banks.
A little bit of clay mixed in always helps.
Always helps a little with them smallmouth. But
and that little fly, that little jig we showed you there a little earlier, it's green, olive green, got some orange in it. Looks just like a little crayfish or a crawdad. I think Brian's thinking about giving up being a boat mechanic, just fishing and running the camera for a living. What do you think? I think the biggest difference I figured out through the day on this deal was, I think my tight lining technique that I do, where I shake it a lot, catches suspended fish. Y'all are catching fish that are on the bank, or on the bottom eating crawdads or whatever. But I think my technique, I fish it out a little bit and catch more suspended fish, maybe. I don't know. Is that just a theory, or you?
No, the type technique we use here. Suspended fish you just don't do any good. Now, if they're suspended out, you won't catch near as many doing this, because they're out off the bank and they're suspended up, and maybe they won't be in 20 foot of water, but they're suspended way up off the bottom, and we're fishing on the bottom, and so we're catching the fish close to the bottom.
Now these smallmouth here, man, they've got some weight to them. I mean, we probably out the whole day, and I didn't keep up with them, but I'd say you could have put, how many keepers do you think we had that day over 18 inches?
I can't remember now, where we had 4 or 5, I think.
I think we had about 4 or 5 that's over 18, and
Yeah.
you know, 18-inch smallmouth, that's a big one anywhere in the country.
Yeah, we've caught, Brian and I have caught some 3-pound smallmouth down there that make 18 inches.
That make 18
They're
inches.
just as fat, pretty as you've ever seen. I see you're getting a technique down there now. You notice how you're doing
I
that?
slowed way down.
You learn how.
Yeah.
You're a quick learner.
After a good thrashing like I got there for a while, you know, you got to do something different. I think that evens the score up now. It's about, what, 15 to 15 now? Did I tie it up right there?
That's close, I'd say.
I'm having trouble counting, I guess. About as much trouble Brian had keeping that on. I hope you enjoyed the show today as much as I did. I got a lesson like I've never had a lesson. If somebody like Sonny Johnston, Brian Miller, offers to take you fishing and show you what they know, you go whenever you can and wherever it takes to learn it. Now, the audio level may not be quite as good as we like, but it was buried up under those rain suits. We was doing everything we could to keep it dry. That's why Sonny and I come out here on Sonny's dock on Boone Lake, hung out today, and just shared our fishing day on the water, Norris Lake, whacking those smallmouth in a downpouring rain. This is Nathan Light, 3B Outdoors. We always bring you quality hunting and fishing.